with your James Dean glossy eyes, in your tight jeans with your long hair and your cigarette stained lies. Could we fix you if you broke? And is your punchline just a joke? I'll never talk again. Oh boy, you've left me speechless. You've left me speechless, so speechless. And I'll never love again. Oh boy, you've left me speechless. You've left me speechless, so speechless. I can't believe how you slurred at me with your half-wide broken jaw. You popped my heart seams, all my bubble dreams, bubble dreams. I can't believe how you looked at me with your Johnny Walker eyes. He's gonna get you, and after he's through, there's gonna be no love left to ride. And I know that it's complicated, but I'm a loser right now, so baby, raise a glass to mend all the broken hearts of all my wrecked up friends. I'll never talk again. Oh boy, you've left me speechless. You've left me speechless, so speechless. And I'll never love again. Oh friend, you've left me speechless. You've left me speechless, so speechless. And after all the drinks and bars that we've been to, would you give it all? Would you give it all up for you? And after all the boys and the girls that we've been through, would you give it all up? Could you give it all up if I promised, boy, to you that I'll never talk again, and I'll never love again. I'll never write a song, won't even sing along. I'll never love again. So speechless. You left me speechless, so speechless. Will you ever talk again? Oh boy, why you so speechless? You left me speechless, so speechless. Some men may follow me, but you choose death in company. Why you so speechless? Oh.